Hi, this is James in with Old Capital, and I got my man Jon Krebbs on the line. John, how's it going?
Good, James. Thank you. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I want to bring you on to sort of go through a new deal that you guys just got listed out there. But before we do that, why don't you give a little bit of your background, and then we'll jump into this deal.
Sure. So Paul Yazbek and I run the Multifamily Group, team of about 15 brokers here in Dallas, and we cover all the way from down in South Texas up through Oklahoma and over to Arkansas, and um, do deals in all the major markets in Texas and a lot of the tertiary markets.
All right, so we've got a deal here in San Antonio that you guys just brought out called the Helix, 400 units. So why don't we jump into this deal and maybe give us an overview of sort of, the question. I'm going to ask all the questions that people normally don't want to ask. So, so we'll start out. Just sort of give us a little background on the seller and sort of how long they've owned the property, what they've done on it, and also just sort of where it sits in San Antonio.
Sure. So the seller is a successful syndicator out of San Antonio who just happened to buy this one, like a lot of folks when the market was high, um, about 3.5 years ago, 2021. There is a piece of developable land in between the two parcels that he has a plan to develop, but there's also it's open for being sold as well. So you can see there, it's right across the street from USAA's campus. Great location up in North San Antonio, and it's a big property, 400 units. There are 376 in that front parcel there on the south part of your screen, and then
Or
70.
324 on the
Oh,
garden style.
324.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sorry,
then,
three. I'm doing my
yeah.
math wrong.
Okay.
324, and then 76 on the north part
Up here.
that are
Okay.
townhomes. Yes, and then about I want to say 3 or 4 acres there in between of land. And that land, I've been out there. It's nice. It's kind of a little wooded area. People take their dogs out there. It really is kind of a nice amenity for the properties.
Okay. So they've owned the property for about 3 years. And what have they done sort of on the property so far during their ownership period? And let's get into what a new buyer could do.
Yeah, they've done a lot of stuff, renovated. I think it's a right around 175, 180 units with granite countertops, new appliances, new fixtures, pools, flooring. Yeah, you can see they've spent, right around 9,000 a unit uh, upgrading these units. So they've made them very nice. Um, you know, the owner they bought it from was a long-term owner, so they came in and fixed a lot of the deferred maintenance and HVAC, plumbing, siding. Now the property looks great. They really improved the amenities. There's now outdoor kitchens and redid the pools. So yeah, put in a pet park. Um, it's yeah, the property shows really well.
All right. So they've done about half the units, and you think the new buyer could come in and potentially do about 222 units of the remaining to get the rent bumps here.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, and we you know, don't I didn't necessarily contemplate doing granite on these, but you could increase that a little bit and keep doing granite.
Okay. So keep doing the interior upgrades, and then what else at the property could the new buyer do?
Yeah, a lot of the units already have washer and dryer connections, but there are some that don't. And the of the ones that do, you could buy the capitalize the equipment, right, and increase the rent and rent out those units. And as you know, the agencies see the rent as being contractual, sticky, and not other income, but actually increase the rent and provide the washer and dryer instead of having folks moving them in and out and plumbing them. And That so you have a one-time expense and but then a reoccurring revenue.
Okay. And anything else on the amenity side that the new buyer could do?
Yeah, just a few little things like Wi-Fi, valet trash. We've got, reserve and covered parking there that they're not doing. And then the new, lockers for packages that properties are doing. Just a few things to add, you know, maybe a few $100,000 in, expense that could add, close to $1 million in capitalized value.
All right. So the total capex that you have sort of projected is 2.5 million on this deal. And then here's sort of in place rents today are about 950, and then the rent comps are anywhere from 1,000 to 1,100 or closer to 1,100. And let's maybe talk about some of the rent comps. So our properties down here, is there one or two rent comps that you think are the best to compare this deal to?
I think all of these are pretty comparable. The two that are the most comparable as far as square footage are Renata and City Crest. And you can see there that, Renata is up at uh, 1136 and City Crest is at, you know, just over 1,000 and we're sitting at 950. So there's room in the rents. Now, San Antonio market is soft right now. The average occupancy, I think, citywide is maybe 85%. But like we heard about at your conference, over the next year or two, these new deliveries are going to be absorbed, and then we're going to see a lot of rent growth in, 26, 27, as there's not very much new supply coming online. So now's a chance to buy, at a decent cap rate, decent basis, and watch the market go up from here.
All right, so I dropped in sort of you guys broker pro forma. Um, Before we talk about that, do you guys have a whisper price on this deal?
Yeah, 32 million is
32.
where we think, and that's without the land, so maybe 34 with the land. Um, but right, we sized it based on your agency underwriting
Right.
and at 75% leverage. So, great leverage depending on how much you want to buy the rate down and, a solid basis at 80,000 a unit.
Yeah, so right here you have sort of your T3 income and T12 expenses. You're coming in at about 2.4 on NOI. And then you're gonna have to make some adjustments to their expenses. I think the payroll was a little bit lower on their payroll, and then you probably adjust taxes up a little bit. But the income that you guys have projected is sort of offsetting those. Um, we had it underwritten by a lender, and it was pretty much they use T3 net rental. They're going to use in place other income for now, and then they did adjust payroll upwards, but I think that's probably sort of market of 1,400. I mean, if you can do it for less, that'd be great. And then so they were getting about to 2.1 NOI, which sizes pretty well, like you talked about, right? So they were getting to, based on a $32 million purchase price, they were getting right to about 75% LTV, depending if you did a no buy down or a buy down. So right now, rates are probably around 575 to 6 on most deals on Fannie Mae. And then if you did have a bigger rehab budget, you could, do a non-recourse bridge. We've seen those spreads come in a little bit. So you're maybe, SOFR +3 on those deals if you wanted to do a bridge. So is there any other main things that people should know about this deal?
Just
Uh
the insurance. If you'll flip back to the underwriting real quick, we
yeah.
got quotes for insurance.
Okay.
I think the underwriter, uh, the dust lender was at 900 a unit. We actually were quoted just under 800 a unit.
Okay.
So that offered some savings to help offset that increase in taxes. And then, payroll, I do think, with a strong uh, budget from a borrower, that that 1,400 a unit could probably brought down as well. But either way, the agencies, the lenders being conservative and they're still at 75% leverage. So I think it makes a lot of sense. People be able to raise a little bit for CapEx, for improvements, and raise the money for the equity.
Okay. So you guys have just started doing tours. Do you guys have a call for offers date just so people can sort of prioritize this one in front of some of the other ones if you have the time?
Yeah, it's actually 2 weeks from yesterday, so it's March 6th. So
Okay.
folks do need to underwrite it quickly, come out there and tour. This is a real opportunity for higher leverage. It works for syndication. I think people should give it a good look. Mid 80s construction for 80K a unit.
Okay. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. If people want to reach out to you for tours, John's email is here on the slide, and then I'll also put it in the comments below. So appreciate you coming on, sharing the story, and we'll talk soon.
Thanks for having me, James.
All right.
Appreciate you.
I see you, John.
Bye bye.